So today we are going to be cleaning and oiling our brother M343D overlocking machine. So I usually do this weekly, but I have decided to wait for a whole month to do this so I can show you how grubby the insides get and how quickly that lint all builds up in the machine. So what we're going to do is I'm actually going to rethread the machine as well. So I'm actually just going to snip the threads along the top there in the thread spool. So the first thing we're going to need is our sewing machine oil. Now I do recommend and I do advise using a specific sewing machine oil only. You can get them from honestly any sewing retailer or fabric shop. Do not try and use normal machine lubricant like for a sports machine or something, because it can wreck your machine. And we've got our trusty little brush there. The bristles are actually going on mine, so you can also use a toothbrush or a pipe cleaner or one of those mini computer hoovers, but be careful with those because obviously, you know, we do have lots of moving parts and whatnot, so you don't want to have something with something electronic that can make a lot of damage, basically. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that our needles on the needle plate here are down, okay? So we want to lower the needles there. Okay, lovely. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop the hood of the machine so you can see it's really grubby here on the lid. I'm just going to zoom in so you can see the insides really well. Wow, so you can see, fortunately it is quite dark, but there is a lot of lint build up here within the machine. So you can see that kind of, gosh, there's tons of it, just lovely. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a brush and we're going to brush in all of the crevices there. So I'm going to just zoom in so you can see where I'm putting the cleaner here. So we just want to get it in all of the places where the mechanical workings are, to be honest. So all around the presser foot, behind the foot. And you just want to knock off loads of that lint and that fluff, but also try and reach right back in there as much as you can. And I've cut the threads, so I actually don't need to be mindful. Oh no, there goes the brush. I don't need to be mindful of knocking the threads out of position, so we can just cast them aside. So you can see I've got this huge buildup of lint. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give it all a good wipe and then pick up the brush. I'm going to give it all a really good wipe, collate the lint to show you, and then I'm going to point out where we're going to put the oil. Okay, so I have collected as much lint as possible. So you can see from this pile, goodness, there is quite a lot of dust and lint and bits of thread. So it's definitely worth doing weekly if you use this machine quite often. Otherwise, at least once a month I would recommend. So what you want to do with your brush, you just want to get right into all these crevices, and also underneath there's always a large buildup of thread and lint and whatnot. So once you've done that and your machine's looking a little bit tidier, we are going to, I'm going to zoom right in because we're going to oil the machine now. So I want you to see exactly where it is that I mean to oil. So I'm just going to move and adjust the camera so you can see we're looking at it straight on. Okay, and what we're going to oil, I'm just going to point it out with the oil first of all. So you can see we've got this kind of long pole here, okay, and that connects to the thread cutter here, Okay, so you can just about see whether it's that kind of sharp pointy edge comes and sits in front of the needle there. And that is attached to this large screw here and this pole, this metal pole here. And this is the pole that we're going to be oiling, okay? So we're not going to oil this screw here. You can see I'm pointing with my finger here. But just above it, I'm going to zoom right in now. Just above it, you've got this kind of metal ridge here, okay? That is what we're going to be popping a drop of oil on. So I will just show you. We're just gonna, there we go, not too much, literally just 1 or 2 drops. I'll zoom in again so you can see. So it is this pole here, and it is right there that we've put the oil on, okay? Jolly good. Now, with the overlocker, we do want to put a second drop of oil, okay? So you can see here we have this, whoops, I'm going to zoom in so you can see this kind of ridged handle here, and that is to pull the thread cutter back and forward. Okay, so I've just tried to lighten the area so you can see what I mean. So this piece here, okay, and what we're going to be oiling is this below it, this circular tube. We're going to be oiling the very front of that. So I'll just take the lid off the oil and I will just, there we go. You can see just around that rim there, 1 or 2 drops. You don't want to soak it in oil because that's not good either. And there we go. So I'm just going to zoom out so you can see exactly where I meant. So I meant that big ridge there and also on top here. Okay, and that's the 2 points that we're going to oil. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to shut the lid back up, and you can see we've still got this kind of lint and dust residue build up on the front there from where we've been brushing. So we're just going to get a dry cloth and just give the machine a wipe. We obviously don't want to use a wet cloth, just a nice dry cloth to get the remainder of that lint off. And then we are all done. Jobs are good and well done. Pat on the back. You have cleaned and oiled your machine.